what I did right now is to release the downhaul, which is this blue line over here, which is basically connected to the halyard for the foresail, and I use it to take down the Hong Kong sail when single-handed, because sometimes it's not as easy to go on the foredeck and do it, so I prefer to use the downhaul. So now what I'm gonna do is to take the boat into the wind and put up the foresail and then the mainsail. And because it's the beginning of the season, so I just put out all the reefing lines and so on, and I'm not sure if I did everything properly, so it's gonna take longer. I'm also gonna put the autopilot on so that it keeps me on course into the wind while I do all this. So engine out, and I'm also gonna put the propeller in reverse so that it doesn't spin, and we're sailing. So the autopilot cannot really keep the boat upwind, it just bips. So I think it's time to test out the reefing procedure. First, I'm gonna let go of the halyard here, go to the mast, take the main down to the first reef and hook it up, and then come back and pull on the blue and white reefing line, which is the first reef. Let's see. It's important to ensure that the halyard can freely go down, especially when you took it down into the back to the cockpit, so that you don't have to go back and forth and back and forth. But it can happen. Buckle up, kids. Actually, the order now, after I hook up the first reef, is to tension the halyard again. Pulling the reefing line. To make my life easier, I'm just gonna go into the wind, because then it's easier when the pressure is off. The other option is to let the main sheet go. Actually, let's try with that one. So I'm gonna let the main sheet go all the way, then the main is not as exposed. So now I'm gonna tension it even a little bit more, the reefing line I mean. So I'm gonna let the main sheet go all the way out, basically give as little resistance to the wind as possible, and then I'm gonna use a winch to winch in the blue-white reefing line, the first reefing line. I'm happy now bringing back the main sheet. Going upwind, always a pleasure, eh? So, something like 20 degrees sometimes. And doing 6.8. Yeah, it's quite a fresh one. Ah. Seems that there is indeed much more wind than forecasted, so I'm thinking about doing a second reef in the main, but this time I'd like to try something new, which is taking the reef while being hove to. So first order of action would be to hove to, which means that I'm gonna cross through the wind. It's pretty much like a tack, but not move the jib. The jib will stay tied on the starboard side as it is now. Obviously the main will go on the other side, so be careful, right? The main sheet, do it controlled, and then basically we need to slow the boat down to the point where it's balanced. So what I'm gonna do now is yeah, 6.7 knots, so probably need to do it. So gonna cross through the wind, but keep the jib where it is, controlled with the main sheet. Now we're pretty much hove to. Let me show you how it looks like. So basically you do have the wind coming from the starboard side. Now you've got the jib still tied on the starboard side. You've got the mainsail receiving the wind from the starboard, and right now it's on the port side. And then you've got the tiller tied on the port side. So basically you can think of it as a zigzag. The foresail, the main, and then as a extension is the tiller. So now let's look. We are doing 1.5 knots according to the GPS, 1.3. It's a very controlled motion now, right? Based on the sheet, main sheet, you can change the direction to the wind, but actually I wanted to use this opportunity now to put a reef, an extra reef in the main. So let me show you how I'm doing it. As always, I'm going to the main halyard loose and then go forward and pull the main sheet down. make sure that the, I don't know, 1.5 meters or something like this to the next reefing point, that the halyard is moving. Everything in a very, very controlled motion now. No hurry. Still buckle up, and it seems to me like the camera is not really okay. Now I attach the reefing ring. I'm gonna tension the halyard now. I'm going to take in the red reefing line, which is the second reef. Emphasize what a controlled, very quiet, peaceful motion. It's like the wind died in intensity. Now we're reefed. Is to let the jib go on the other side, so take off the sheet here and tie it up on the backboard side, and then we're gonna start moving again, just in the other direction. Or what I can obviously also do is right now to do a how do you call it, not a tack, but rather a jibe. So go with the bottom of the boat through the wind, and then we're going to be, the jib is going to be on the right side again. Let's try this one just for fun. So, but be careful, the main will go on one side. Okay? So, tying. So now moving again, but much more controlled. Boy, it's really cold, and this wind is yeah, the clouds brought more wind instead of as forecasted, less of it. Yep, much better with the second reef. Much better. So I saw two sailboats at anchor, so I decided to spend the night here, or at least try to. So the first thing that I'm gonna do is put the main away, since well, I'm gonna try to do this without going upwind. So I'm just gonna let the main sheet go all the way out, so that there is no resistance in the mainsail from the wind, and then try to put it down. So let's see. Buckle up first of all. So first thing, buckle up, then make sure that the main halyard is free. Take all the knots out. Yep, looks to be free. And now let's let the main sheet out. Okay, and let's go. Oh, release the brake. I forgot to do that one. Okay. Actually a little bit still missing, of course. There's a knot. But I forgot the ties anyways, so let's do this. So, and now I'm gonna put the foresail down. For this I'm gonna start the engine, put the boat into the wind, and then use the downhaul. So and now I'm gonna put the foresail down. For this I'm gonna start the engine, put the boat into the wind, and then use the downhaul. So make sure the halyard is free. Well, welcome to this gorgeous, beautiful anchorage, which I hope it's going to be as quiet as it is now, because the winds are supposed to come from the west, which is that direction. I've got something like 40 meters to the island, and I've got a nice neighbor there, and we're pretty much facing the open lake to our back, so hopefully the wind will not change direction for night. Beautiful night at the anchorage. That was really so quiet. Felt like a baby in a cradle. Used the morning to do some breakfast and reading, and now it's 11 a.m. and started my trip, and it's really funny. There was wind from west forecasted, which is probably one of the reasons why I slept so well, because I was protected, right? So the wind was blowing from ashore, supposedly, which is also the case up until I put up the sails, and now I realize that the wind is coming from the east here, right? It's you can see sort of beam reach, which is east, but all the windmills there are getting the wind from the west. So I cannot really explain this phenomenon. Anyways, as long as we're doing, well, 2 knots, I'm happy. Next stop is Den Over, where I'm supposed to meet the rest of the crew from my home harbor. They're doing what they call here het rondje, which is probably a something like a round turn around IJsselmeer. Let's see. That's one way to keep moving. I just put up the spinnaker for the first time in my life. I think I'm proud of myself. Look at this beauty. Wind coming from, well, beam reach, I'd say. Five knots. Very nice. Well, all good things last only as long, so I'm gonna have to take it down. Wish me luck.